Hello, twisted humans.
Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting?
Then this is the podcast for you. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is
Twisted and Uncorked. Okay, welcome back, guys, to round 2 of our coverage on Glennon Engleman, that disgusting killer dentist, or the killer driller, as he is sometimes referred to. Ew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sierra is picking up where we left off from last week, which was his marriage, his third and final marriage, to Ruth Jolly, and the birth of their first son, before he went on to all sorts of other shenanigans. So, yeah, before we get into that, do you have a fun fact for me, Sierra?
Of course. My fun fact is about the largest known living organism. And it is an aspen grove. So, it's like a whole group of trees. However, it's a group of genetically identical aspen trees with an interconnected root system. It's called pando, which is Latin for I spread out, which is adorable. It's in Utah, and it's estimated 80,000 years old and takes up more than 100 acres. How interesting.
Yeah, I like it.
It's the largest living organism because they all share the same life, you know?
I like
they all
it.
Share the same roots.
That's so cool.
I love nature.
I love nature too. It is important. You know, we got a juniper and a Daniel, and you have to be a Patreon to know what that means. So go check it out. This is so good, by the way.
I know. Tell your fun fact so we can talk about it.
Yes. During the Salem witch trials, the accused witches weren't actually ever burned at the stake. The majority were jailed, some were hanged, but none of the 2,000 people accused of being witches during the witch trials ever got burned alive.
Crazy.
Even though that's what's commonly reported or, you know, popularized in pop culture, like TV shows and movies.
I wonder
never
if
really happened.
A different one did, like different witches did, though, just not during the Salem witch trials.
Maybe.
Because I know Joan of Arc was burned at a stake.
Yes.
She wasn't a witch, but yeah. A lot of them were also forced to drown.
Yes.
Right? Like, if they floated, they were witches, and if they sank, they weren't, or something. But either way, they were dead.
You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So they would tie their hands and their wrists together. Or, sorry, their wrists and their ankles together.
Right.
Nobody can fucking swim like that. So, of course, you're going to drown either way. So, it's horrible. Yes, many were drowned as well. And Sierra and I will definitely be covering the Salem witch trials at some point.
For sure.
It is a given. But we got to honor our fallen soldiers. Our fallen coven members.
Sadly, most of them were not even witches.
Yeah, I know. Just different, or in the wrong place at the wrong time, or
women.
In the case of some of
or
their
women.
Workers, that I'm going to call them as, because I hate the word slaves, but many were enslaved women that, you know, just didn't do what the rich white women wanted them to. So they were witches, naturally.
Of course.
But sangria, because this is fucking delicious. Sierra.
Yes. So this
She nailed it
sangria,
again.
I tried to find a candy-esque sangria because this is a story about a dentist. We used the same wine, which is the... where did it go? It is the...
Louis Jolin.
Beaujolais. The Beaujolais wine. And we added brandy, 2 different grape varietals, a black grape and a green grape. I actually, for my green grape, used a cotton candy grape because I figured, you know, candy-esque, right?
I love that. They're really good. Like, I don't know what they're doing to those grapes, but they taste like cotton candy.
I know, it's so weird, but they are delicious. And then, of course, we have lime, lemon, and orange, with topping it off with ginger ale. And then on the rim of mine, I have little candy sugars.
Because she's
And
so awesome.
For a straw, I have a little sour straw.
That's adorable. I love it.
It's delicious.
I didn't know this sour straws were a thing. I would have gotten some.
So good.
So good. Yeah, this one is really good, guys. I mean, not too sweet, not too anything. Doesn't really need a lot. So, yeah, I like it. We'll give you your rating by the end of the show, though. Let us know what you guys think, too, because we are starting to track that, and eventually we will post all of our sangria recipes and, you know, kind of what we thought on our website. So go check that out, twistedanduncorked.com. That's right, baby. We got our own domain. We're moving up in the world.
Oh, before we forget, we need to give a special shout out to one of our new patrons.
Oh my God.
Been here for a couple weeks now, and we keep forgetting to officially on the air say hello to Justin.
Yes, hello, Justin, to our new patron.
Thank you so much.
We could not appreciate you more. And when Justin signed up, he also did a one-off donation on PayPal, which you can do through the link in our bio everywhere. If you don't want to commit to Patreon every month, we totally get it. Money is tight for us sometimes too, so we completely understand. And if you want to just, you know, send us a little donation for a bottle of wine and suggest that, we'll dedicate the episode to you. And we appreciate it more than you know. So thank you, Justin, for, you know, supporting twofold, because that's pretty incredible. So much appreciated.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes. And
you're the greatest.
Yeah. Don't tell anyone. Everybody's turning off their radios. Why is it a radio that they're clicking off? I'm 1,000. It's fine. Mm-hmm. And again, guys, if you are not watching this on YouTube, we are round 2 of our cat and bat costumes for, you know, Glennon Engleman. Little classic Halloween symbol for you. It's lots of fun. Stay tuned for more, because we have an entire month's worth planned for you.
Yes, we do. So we ended with Glennon having married and settled down. However, a couple years later, Glennon managed to sway in his favor and manipulate another woman. And that was 23-year-old Carmen Miranda. Why does this sound like a fucking superwoman name?
I know. I was thinking the same thing when I was doing my research. I'm like, why does Carmen Miranda sound so familiar?
Yeah. That's
It's gotta
so strange.
be, like, they had to have used that name in something.
Well,
maybe
Carmen
not
Sandiego.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Carmen Miranda sounds so familiar.
It sounds kind of like a supervillain, to be honest.
Yeah, maybe. Weird. Sorry, I need another drink. This is so good.
I know. It's so good. Up there with the white peach and the cucumber mint.
Oh, God, that cucumber mint is still my favorite.
Oh, my God. Next
So
summer,
refreshing.
guys, we will be regurgitating that one with a different wine.
Regurgitating? With a different word. Jeez. Doesn't that mean, like, vomiting?
No, doesn't that mean like reproducing, like redoing?
No.
Or...
Regurgitating is like a vomiting.
No.
We're not regurgitating anything. Oh my gosh. That is so gross.
Maybe go see your dentist after that.
All right. 23-year-old Carmen Miranda was hired at Glennon's office in 1975 as a dental assistant. She worked right alongside him. She was much younger than Glennon was, but she had known him for a lot of her life because she was, you know, a patient herself before she started working there. She respected Engleman and relied on his judgment. So one day, Carmen consulted with Glennon about some financial difficulties she had been having.
Which again just shows this power and this like grooming ability that he has over her, that she went to him in the first place.
And unfortunately, she kind of just fell right into his trap because, of course, that's exactly what he wants women to do.
Exactly.
Glennon suggested that she should marry someone, take out a life insurance policy on him, and later he would help her kill him. Like, oh, cool, thanks.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. Never thought of casual murder for money. Sorry.
Like, how does this even... Oh, God.
Like, how
does this conversation come up?
I know. That was what I was thinking the whole time, too. I was like, what?
Just...
And, like, how do you know if you can really
gracious.
trust somebody? Like, how many people has he worked with at this point? Like, what's to stop them from being like, hey, they killed him?
How do the girls trust him, too?
Well, that's just it. Yeah, to not just, like, openly run away with the money. Or, sorry, not with the money, but to tell the police on them.
Yeah, to not kill.
Right? What's to stop him from getting rid of them, too? Like, Jesus.
They agreed they would then split the insurance proceeds, and Carmen could pay off her debts and continue on to have a better life. Glennon eased all of her fears as they came up, and he told Carmen he knew the scheme would work because he had done it before.
Again,
a few times.
Ballsy as shit.
Yeah, for whatever reason, whether it be because she was love-struck or whatever, she wasn't even alarmed by him suggesting the murder or that he had already done this before. Like, what is happening?
Yeah. Wild.
I would love to have been able to meet this man, just so that I could understand, like, how they feel. You know what I mean? Because I don't understand it. I don't get it.
I don't either. You look at photos and you're like, you look like a bald baby. Like, I don't understand.
Carmen told Glennon that the only condition that she had for this scheme was that she wanted to pick the person that she would marry. And a few months later, she met Peter Halm. Peter Halm. He was a nice man with a good job as a lineman. She had known him in high school, but they were never really close, and she had managed to rekindle that, little relationship that they had.
Mm-hmm. It's much easier to pick up where you've left off with somebody when you already know them.
Yeah. Peter was looking to settle down and start a family, and Carmen found out that he was easily manipulated by her, and she felt he would be the perfect husband to murder.
That's so fucked up. Like, you've literally picked this person knowing that he's gonna die.
On October 31st, 1975, aka Halloween, Carmen and Peter were married. And now I feel like everyone going forward, if you get married on Halloween, think about how you might be the one who's being murdered in a scheme with your spouse.
Yeah, be nice to your spouse, okay? Fuck off.
Poor Peter didn't have to be rude, okay? She had already destined him to be killed.
I feel really bad for Peter. He did not deserve this.
No, he didn't. After the wedding, Carmen stayed in touch with Glennon, but left to go and work at another dental office. This was smart, as it took away the connection the two of them had if this was looked at later. So, was she doing this because she actually loved her husband now, or was she doing this for an alibi? Probably
a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
Glennon advised Carmen on how to obtain insurance on her husband, how to have the property placed in her name, and how to have her name placed as the beneficiary on any existing insurance policies. So, like, he is 100% premeditating. This isn't a fucking hitman. This is a premeditated murder.
Which is why, even though he's classified as a hitman, Sierra and I are choosing to cover him as a serial killer, because that is what he is.
Yes, I don't believe he's a hitman at all. I think that that's just men trying to be nice to him.
Other hitman in history has ever planned the murder. They're just paid to do it.
They don't know the person.
They don't know why. They don't know anything.
Yeah.
The little they know, the better. By the way, neither of us are experts in Hitman. That's just from research.
Legally, we have to say that.
I love you.
The following year, on September 5th, 1976, Carmen lured her husband to the agreed-upon location she had discussed with Glennon. As she stood next to Peter, Glennon shot him with a rifle from a distance, buried the gun, and then ran. Carmen was brave, stupid, or both, because people do have a chance of missing shots, but Glennon didn't. Carmen played the part, screaming and making sure to make as much noise as possible so that there would be witnesses that this shot seemingly came out of nowhere. When help arrived, she played the hysterical wife, worried about her husband. Peter Helm died on his way to the hospital from a gunshot wound through his back, and Carmen Miranda received a $75,000 life insurance payout.
See, you're making
which
me
is
tougher.
about $360,000 today.
What the fuck?
Yeah, like that's an average life insurance policy in America, at least, is $250,000 from what I know of. So that's like way above average.
Jesse, blink twice if you feel threatened.
We have no life insurance yet,
I
sadly.
know,
That's why
I know.
I won't let him die.
From
He's
all
not
of his,
allowed.
From all of his Chick-fil-A.
It's not even Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is like healthy compared to what this kid eats. I said kid. He's older than me.
I know.
No, he literally
He
has...
eats like a teenage boy, so it was a fitting
He eats
phrase.
at least one bag of ramen noodles a day. Like, at least one a day.
That is a lot of salt, Jesse.
So much salt. And the packet that comes with the ramen noodles are not enough flavor for him. He adds like 8,000 other salts.
Oh, Jesus.
It's ridiculous.
I think his taste buds might be broken.
They are definitely broken.
If you're not already a Patreon and you want to go check out our August Bitch and Wine, we talk about weird food combinations in which Sierra's husband is a star. So further proof that his taste buds are broken.
Big time broken. Also, if you would like to become a patron, then you can not have to listen to this ad break that we're going to insert right after this bit for only $1 a month. You don't have to listen to these ads, but sorry if you're not listening on Patreon. Here's some ads. Be right back. We are back from our little break and back to talking about Glennon Engleman. So by this time, Glennon had brought in an accomplice with him to help carry out the schemes. Someone to help him, find people, make sure things went smoothly, make sure the murder was taking place. This man's name was Robert Handy.
What an ironic last name.
So Glennon actually had Robert go out and buy the rifle that was used to kill Peter so that it would not be traced back to him. It seems like a kind of dumb and I guess ballsy thing to do for Glennon. Like why do you keep bringing more and more people into these murders? That's like the first rule of a murder is like not to tell people. You know what I mean? Like, what's that song? Two can keep a secret if one of them is dead. You're trying to get like 8 people to keep a secret? Are you dumb?
Yeah.
Anyway.
He had to have trusted his ability in coercing these people.
Yeah.
Why else would he get away with it for so?
Right.
Wild.
On November 3rd, 1977, Glennon murdered Arthur and Vernita Guswell in their farmhouse near Edwardsville, Illinois. They were 61 and 55, respectively. Arthur was shot. Vernita died of blunt force trauma to the head. 17 months later, on March 31st, 1979, Glennon murdered their son, Ronald Guswell. Robert and Glennon waited in Ronald's garage until he got home and then ambushed him. He had been shot through the heart and beaten with a sledgehammer. His body was later... I said that weird. His body was later found in his car at a hotel parking lot. This crazy 17-month scheme was all so that Ronald's wife, Barbara Guswell Boyle, could claim the millions in life insurance she had taken out on her husband, the sole heir to his parents' oil business. Since there was well over a year between the murders, Ronald had received the life insurance from his parents' deaths, and that was now in his possession. Killing Ronald was part 2 of the plan, and that would mean that that money that his parents had now goes to Barbara. Barbara had met Glennon back in 1960 when they were neighbors in an apartment building. They also had a brief sexual relationship.
Gross.
Over the years, the two had stayed in touch and at some point had begun planning this elaborate murder.
Like, how do you just go about planning a 17-month murder for
that's a lot.
An insurance payout? That's wild.
Barbara collected approximately $340,000 in insurance money following her husband's murder.
That was the big one.
Glennon is said to have been paid approximately $190,000 for this job.
Oh God, I don't even want to know what it is in today's money. I'm stressed.
So $340,000, which is what Barbara got, would be about $1.4 million today.
Whoa.
God damn, fucking Glennon would have gotten the equivalent of $797,000.
What the fuck? I could have paid off my house twice.
That's insane. In between the murders of the Guswell killings in 1978, Ruth Engleman filed for divorce from Glennon. The exact motives for this filing are unknown, but given his unfaithful behavior in previous marriages and how busy he was planning and carrying out these elaborate murders, it's easy to put 2 and 2 together that he probably wasn't a very good husband. During his time at school, Glennon worked and did some of his classwork at South St. Louis Dental Laboratory. This lab was owned by a woman named Sophie Marie Barrera. Sophie had reached out to Glennon on multiple occasions about an outstanding payment that he owed her of about $15,000, and after quite some time of him not paying it, she filed a lawsuit against him. In March of 1979, he tried to blow up Sophie's garage with dynamite.
His favorite tool, it seems.
Yeah, here's the dynamite again. Like, why do you just casually have dynamite? I don't get it.
He's like a Looney Tunes villain.
Yes. This did not go according to plan, and while the dynamite detonated, it only caused minor damages to the garage as it had gotten wet in the rain earlier that afternoon. Okay, so I'm gonna wet all dynamite I come across now.
Let me know how much of that you come across.
Pee please. On the dynamite. When in doubt, pee. Right?
Yeah.
It all comes back.
Right, guys? Just pee. Always.
Pee on the dynamite. Glennon was determined to get rid of Sophie and make his debt go away. He wasn't going to let it go. Even though he just received the equivalent of $790,000 for a last murder. Like,
right?
You can't just pay the $15,000. No. Are you kidding?
Because he's an asshole.
He and Robert planted a car bomb in Sophie's vehicle while she was at work not long before the trial date for the lawsuit. In early January 1980, after leaving the lab after a long day of work, Sophie went out to her car in the parking lot, got in, and it instantly exploded. She was killed on impact at 59 years old. Investigators did note that this bomb was suspiciously similar to the bomb that had detonated at her home the year prior. But other than a lead that had come from her son Frank about a dentist his mom was suing for refusing to pay his bills, they had nothing. They had some dynamite and a dentist.
It was probably Wile E. Coyote, let's face it.
Yes. Just like the case against James Bullock, police were pretty confident that Glennon had committed the murder, but they had nothing to tie it to him other than, this loose connection. On January 16, 1980, Ruth Engleman, Glennon's wife, contacted federal law enforcement authorities and gave them information about her ex-husband's past activities. She said she was afraid that she was going to be the next victim in his life insurance policy schemes, and she feared for her own life and their child, David's.
Which is totally reasonable.
For sure.
She's filed for divorce at this point. He's killing people over $15,000 that he owes. Like, come on.
Yeah, 15, that's nothing. Glennon was getting braggy about some of the money he had come into and his recent success with dynamite. Ruth had her suspicions about the type of man that he really was. He was very calculated and made good money, so any extra money coming in could be explained away during their marriage. At the request of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms on February 14, 1980, Ruth wore devices to allow certain conversations between her and Glennon to be monitored and recorded. During these taped conversations, he acknowledged his involvement with Carmen Miranda and their scheme in the murder of her husband, Peter. That very same day, investigators had enough to arrest Glennon Engleman and later Robert Handy for the murder of Peter Helm, and they were taken into custody. The public, why did I add a T to that word?
You like to add
This
extra syllables
sangria
to words that
is
aren't there.
delicious. Okay, it's gone already. The public was truly shocked. His patients genuinely felt he was a professional, a good guy, and a good dentist. He had poised himself to be this reputable member of the community, and in addition to lack of evidence, this is what evaded his arrest for so long. Glennon Engleman was ultimately charged for the murder of Peter Helm, and Carmen Miranda testified against him in exchange for immunity. After further investigating...
Even though she's a fucking snake and should have been charged.
For sure. After further investigating and testimony from Robert Handy, Glennon was also found guilty in the murder of Sophie. While imprisoned, Glennon confessed to the murders of the Guzwell family as well. They also had testimony from Robert, who was convicted of 14 years as an accomplice. Barbara Guzwell Boyle was convicted in her husband's murder, but was acquitted of killing his parents. She was
Which I don't get, because one comes with the other, so.
I mean, I guess whether or not his parents... whether or not she killed his parents, yeah, she killed him afterwards because she wanted his parents' money. I don't know. I can see...
When you separate it like that, yeah. I'm just looking at it together.
She was subsequently sentenced to 50 years in prison for the murder of her husband and was released on October 10th, 2009. Glennon Engleman was convicted of 5 counts of murder and sentenced to serve 3 consecutive life sentences plus 70 years. And then we have a bit of a rundown of the money Glennon made taking lives like an asshole. An exact amount is not known for his stake in the $64,000 payout that his wife, Ruth, received for the death of her husband, James, but it was probably pretty sizable. Next, he received $16,000 from a $25,000 payout for the widow of Eric Fry, and used that money for his drag racing business. Carmen Miranda paid him $10,000 from the $75,000 she received, and then he also received $190,000 from Barbara Guswell Boyle. Given the inconsistencies in the payment amounts he received from the murder victims' relatives, we know it was never just about the money. We know as decent humans that this was in no way worth the cost of life, but Glennon Engleman was the killer driller and loved the thrill and the planning of it all. He loved the hunt and probably the control. Glennon Engleman died due to complications with diabetes on March 3rd, 1999. This sucks because he barely served any time of his 330-year sentence, and he deserved to rot for a very long time. He was 71 years old at the time of his death. He left the world with the quote, "It takes a certain kind of person to be able to kill another human being."
That's not even, like, all of his quotes. Some of his quotes were, like, about him being famous. Like, when you look up certain murderers.
He's gross.
And, you know, he's gross, and we don't want to promote that kind of thinking or, you know, grandiosity. Because he doesn't deserve it, so.
So, yeah, don't get too frisky with the Halloween candy this year. You may have to go and see your dentist. And, fucking dentists are scary. I hate the dentist. It's the worst.
Yes.
And I didn't even know about this guy.
This fun
so
for Halloween, because so many people are afraid of the dentist. And, you know, as we're playing on classic Halloween symbol tropes, we're playing on human fear tropes. So, yes, madam. Thank you so much for listening. As per usual, stay away from killer drillers if you can. And, you know, just goes to show you that you need to look critically at everybody in your life, because how many serial killers have evaded us as, you know, members of the community and use the superficial term to their advantage. You know, we just finished our wrap up on the Ripper on Patreon this week. In fact, today that this is coming out, and, you know, it just goes to show you that, you know, you can't trust everybody in your life necessarily, and, you know, how easily people think that they can groom and manipulate us. So just, as women, always use your critical thinking, and, you know, stay away from anybody that looks like a giant adult baby. What day is it today, Sarah?
Today is a Friday. Oh my gosh. And
yeah, we never get to be on a Friday. You're welcome, guys. We never
get to be on a Friday. And I'm completely stealing information that I learned from another podcast by telling you this, but I have to say, Fridays are for the girls. I learned this recently. Literally, the fear behind Fridays is old, you know, God, what is the word I'm looking for? Pagan religions and you know, witches and whatnot. Fridays were celebrated like women days. And what? Christians were like, fuck this shit. Fridays are the worst day ever. Fridays are scary. Fridays are when all of the people in the Bible have died. And so that's why even Friday the 13th is like a scary day. Before industrialization and the 5-day work week, Fridays were known historically as the worst day ever because Christians made it that way because they were threatened by women. So,
fuck off.
Boys,
Boo-hoo.
You can have Saturdays. Fridays are for the girls. So have your sangria and let everyone know that Fridays are for the girls. Also, if you do want a historical fact, I do have one of those as well. Not that that one's not historical. However,
that's super fun.
Specifically,
yes, give one that might be for the men as well.
Right. Specifically on October 15th in 1860, Abraham Lincoln decided to grow his beard after a little girl named Grace Bedell sent him a letter telling him, you should grow your beard. No. She was 11 years old.
No.
And so he decided to grow out his beard, and historically, Abraham Lincoln is known as someone who had a beard. because of little Grace Bedell. How sweet.
Oh my god, that's fucking precious.
I know.
Well, guys, be as sweet as Grace, because fuck, that was adorable. And leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening right now, okay? Thanks. We are going to do future draws. You know, if you want to send us your address after you leave us a 5-star review, we're happy to send you some stickers. It's honestly the best way that you can help us grow the show, past telling your friends and family. So we really appreciate it. And we are social media everywhere, Twisted and Uncorked. And
We are social media everywhere.
You know what? That fucking made sense. People knew what I meant. And on Twitter, we are twisted_pod. You can also find all of our resources for this website, all of the newspaper clippings about Glennon Engleman. And I would encourage you guys to go and look at the sources because 1958 news coverage is hilarious.
And we hope you loved our costumes this week.
Yes, we've got lots of fun stuff.
Again, you have to go and check out either our YouTube or our Instagram to see the costumes. But it was fun, and next week we'll have another costume for you.
Yes, we also have special guests with us next week, Bo and Big Jim from Bo Talks with Big Jim. So they will be weighing in on our case, just hanging out with us, being one of the hosts for our Halloween special next week. So Stay tuned. And we love you guys lots. Thank you always for listening. And in the meantime,
keep it twisted.
Nailed it.
Thank you for listening to Twisted and Uncorked Podcast. Remember, if you like the show, to go leave us a 5-star rating and review. We couldn't do it without you guys. Now stay tuned to hear about another cool podcast.
Hey, true crime listeners, check out our podcast, I Said Goddamn. We're a true crime comedy podcast hosted by two besties who like to share messed up cases that make you say goddamn. Every Sunday, we try to one-up each other's story by sharing a horrific case the other has never heard of. Along the way, we splash in some wildly inappropriate jokes and colorful language. Listen every Sunday from any of your favorite podcast directories. Also, follow us on Twitter at ISGD Podcast or visit our website, isgdpodcast.com.